What's up, everyone? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to focus on if you are the adult child of a narcissist or someone with borderline personality disorder, then guess what? More than likely you are codependent, and we're going to explore this today. And I really like to step into the minds of other people and give you a picture of what that looks like. If you have a high functioning borderline disordered parent or narcissistic parent, there's a chance that you came out unscathed if you're very lucky. You do have another parent's genetics at play that could have saved you from a disordered existence. If that's the case, thank you, lucky stars, because there are people who are gripped by a skeletal makeup that tortures them for the rest of their lives. Also, a high functioning version of a personality disorder could be the quiet borderline or a narcissist who has a great sense of normalcy and are fairly normal in their standards and values of raising you. They look normal until they are triggered, and then the ugliness, the claws, the rages, the viciousness comes flooding forth, and they act out, and then they return back to normal state of being. That is how high functioning narcissists and borderlines work. They do have times when they have a healthy life, but those triggered moments or their lack of care when you most need it, it does damage to the child. You may be a malfunctioning daydreamer as an adult, where you escape into deep real-life fantasies to cope. You may develop intense emotions that you fight to control, or have times when you struggle to have a template to follow. You might struggle with jealousy. Like, there's a lot of things that can be triggered because there were times when your needs were deeply unmet, or when there was some points of abuse to a certain degree, at least. Most likely you will be codependent, which is a fight in itself and difficult to overcome. Where does someone else end and you begin? That's how you function when you're codependent. You've been groomed to save someone else's life at all times. You've been groomed to walk on eggshells. That means you are super sensitive and hyper aware of someone else's mood at all times. Is she okay today? Are they angry? Did they say anything weird? You learn to walk around their moods, their hot temper, and not trigger it. Or you learn to walk around when they're very calm and try not to say the wrong thing. That could mean days or weeks of being shut out and ignored for saying the smallest quote unquote wrong thing that probably was nothing. Like, oh, oops, I forgot you don't like chocolate and I just offered you some. Oops. Okay, now you're going to get cursed out. You could struggle with intimacy if you're the child of one of these disorders, or people trying to get too close. That could freak you out. Or you may give people mixed messages. Sometimes you want to be super close, and other times you desperately need them to get away from you. You might feel lost without a toxic relationship beside you. You might ask yourself, if you are the daughter of a borderline or narcissist, how do I function? Who am I? How do I cope without the dysfunctional relationship to blame? I recently had someone to tell me, whose mother was ignoring her, that she didn't know how to be. Like, I'm used to calling her like 8 times a day myself. That's super codependent. You might be unusually attached to the disordered parent, having to talk to them and connect with them several times a day, even as an adult. You may have forfeited some of your own adult life to meet their needs and the needs of others. You might think that is your duty, your responsibility. Codependency is an unhealthy space to live in, and it requires a ton of healing and boundaries. You feel guilty for setting your own standards, whether at work or in your own personal life. And let's say you don't fit into the category of calling your parent every day. Well, you may have some issues with your own children or your friendships, and how to set boundaries, and feeling guilty and feeling these internal mood swings that you can't get a grip on. One tip to cope is set your own standards and how you want to live your own adult life, whether it's free-spirited, rigid, or a mix of both. What do you want? You should ask yourself, what's okay and what isn't? How do I line up everything underneath the banner of this is how I want to live, and not based on what does everybody else want? Because that's what people who are the sons and daughters and who are relatively healthy, that's what they do. You will find yourself being abused by needy people who won't let you be you because they need to suck the life out of you. And more than likely, if you are the child or the daughter of a borderline or narcissist, you're willing to do that. And then you're wondering why you feel angry and frustrated all the time. There are people in this world who will abuse you from their own neediness, and some of them will sweetly take advantage of you. And if ever you say no, they will be enraged. They will have tantrums. They will give you sob stories. But that's not your job. Your job is not to save people. It is to be a good friend. Like if you have a great friend and that's what the two of you do, you help each other, you work through your problems together, that's healthy. But when you're at work and you have somebody that's manipulating you to do all their work because, oh, I'm so pitiful and I can't do anything myself, and you have a parent that's like, I need you for everything. Well, they need to learn to develop some independence, because that's not healthy for you. Because you have work of your own that needs to be done, but you can't because these other folks have trained you, Mr. and Mrs. Codependent, to be at their beck and call. And that also is a crazy way of living. So I ask you, if you are the daughter and the son of a borderline or narcissistic parents, you got to start taking back your life. What do you want? What makes you happy? Not what makes everyone else happy. If I do this, because they're going to have a tantrum. They're going to have some tantrums. Yeah, because you got to shift that dynamic, and it's hard. Now, do you want to apply that same principle to everything in your life? Please don't. That's also the worst. Like, I've had friends who were taken advantage of, and so then they decide, well, I'm not going to let anybody take advantage of me anymore, and so they shift this tough person attitude onto me and everyone else, plus the person that's taking advantage of them. I haven't done anything to you. So you want to take care to keep those healthy relationships consistent and happy and positive, and do the things you do. You don't need to switch up on those people, because that's what often happens. People make one change and they apply it to everybody. So be careful not to do that either, but just start to make small, tiny, healthy changes little by little, gradually. If you talk to your mom 8 times a day, let's go to 7. Okay, and hang on to 7 for a little while. We don't need drastic, we need gradual, okay? Because that's going to work better for you and that person. It's too shocking to go from 0 to 100. So if you have a dysfunctional person in your life, you definitely want to check out my book, The Workplace Narcissist, which is all about the narcissist. It's a specific type of narcissist that you could be in a romantic relationship with. That workplace narcissist could be your mom or your dad. So you got to figure them out, and I give you strategies to cope. So check it out. It's on Amazon, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Until the next video, bye.